Good morning, Aaliyah. It's good to see you.
You too. So tell us, what do you think is next? So when we're reflecting on on President Biden's first year in office, what are we taking away from it?
Tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary, January 20th. It's when he was sworn in as President of the United States. And we are going to be hearing a lot in what I call the mainstream media about the Biden presidency 1 year in. I think overall there are concerns about the state of President Biden's legislative agenda, his falling poll numbers, which some people place a lot of value in, some folks don't. He's dealing with the repeated waves of the COVID spikes, inflation, and everyone, I think, is wondering what the administration's next steps will be after the push with Build Back Better as we went into the holiday season, and then what we've seen over the last couple of weeks on voting rights, which we don't expect to see passed today, but there will be some action in the Senate. So those are very serious points. A lot of discussion around those. I don't think this is where the Biden administration wanted to be 1 year in, but and I'll say that for mainstream America. I think for Indian country, a 1 year review is a different picture. We have seen right out of the gate when President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan, which contained the largest single federal investment in Indian country, over $30 billion in the American Rescue Plan. That was and the administration and the buildup and the negotiations and getting to that number and including those funds in the bill, it was a sea change for us. For Indian country, we didn't have that kind of support from the Trump administration in the negotiations for the CARES Act, which contained $8 billion for tribes. So having that support from the administration and in partnership with our other champions on the Hill, really that resulted in that historic investment. So we have, in addition to that, we had in November the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, which contained another, I think it was $13 billion for tribes, and with other funds available in different pots as well. So when we look at overall what's happening in the administration for Indian country, and I think what we see first is his partnership with Secretary Haaland. Her voice and influence in this administration is clear, much as it was in her 2 terms in the House. They've taken the action to restore and protect Bears Ears and other national monuments. They've worked in partnership with tribes on climate change issues. We have 2 nominations to the federal bench. One is confirmed, one is nominated, and I know others are in active consideration as well. Those are important, I think, accomplishments, those like hard accomplishments that we can point to in Indian country for this 1 year in.
Holly, what do you say to the disgruntled Native voter who might not want to vote in the midterms this year? What do you say to them?
Well, and what we're looking at and hearing about today is the Biden administration, right? The 1 year review in. So we can look at all of those accomplishments that I just outlined. But for the midterm voter who is looking at what's been left on the table in terms of voting rights legislation, the funds in the Build Back Better that contain some very critical programs for Indian country as well, that can be frustrating. But I think that the Native American voter looking at the midterms, I think we look at the long game here and what the priorities are for this administration and the engagement for what an administration can do, on its own through executive action. But also look at those who can be supportive. Look at those who are supportive and in the right place on tribal issues.
President Biden is sort of seen as the leader of the Democratic Party. As we're entering into this election year, what do you think that because of all of President Biden's policy agenda pushes, what do you think that signals for Democrats up and down the ballot?
Well, I think we need to get some marks in the win column here, and there's a lot of what do we call that, armchair quarterbacking going on. Is the president, has he swung too far left? Does it need to be more of a centrist agenda? how can we best position the Democratic Party for those down ballot effects going into the midterms? We have a number, and it seems as we see more every day. I think we may have hit over 30 Democratic House retirements. Some of those are in Democratic leaning districts, but so safe districts is what I mean. But it's going to be a tough race for the Democrats to hold the House. And without a fully Democratic Congress, I think the path forward for President Biden and his legislative agenda, whatever that may be as we move forward, is going to be even more difficult. Although it doesn't see, I think the all Democratic governance that the party and the president envisioned a year ago when he was sworn in, I don't think that has played out. The failed relationship management basically with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, that needs to be reset and restarted in order to see any real successes with the Biden legislative agenda.
And we'll, of course, watch that going forward. As I said, we entered this election year. Holly, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Aaliyah.